Don't forget to like the video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to stay updated with Erlata's stories. I had just come back from my morning walk when I noticed a small, neatly folded piece of paper stuck in my front door, and that from it wasn't a flyer or a misplaced address. No, this was different. The paper was thick, almost like stationery, and when I plucked it out, my fingers tingled with an odd sense of anticipation. The handwriting on the front was elegant, cursive. It simply read, "For you." I hesitated, standing on my porch, my heartbeat picking up just a little. I glanced around the quiet suburban street, my eyes scanning the neatly trimmed lawns, the familiar houses. Everything seemed normal. The air smelled of freshly cut grass and someone's morning coffee drifting through an open window. Nothing felt out of place except for then. Out in my hand, I exhaled and unfolded the paper. "I see you, I notice you. And I wonder if you notice me too." My breath caught in my throat. My first instinct was suspicion. Was this some prank, some kind of mistake? But as I read the words again, slower this time, a different feeling settled over me. Words weren't threatening, they weren't crude, they were curious, gentle, and yet they sent a shiver down my spine. I stepped inside, locking the door behind me. The house was quiet, just the soft hum of the refrigerator in the kitchen. I tossed my keys on the counter, note still in my hand, and leaned against the cool granite surface. Who could have left this? It wasn't the kind of woman who got mysterious notes on her door at 48. My life was steady, predictable. I had been divorced for 6 years, long enough to have made peace with the loneliness that sometimes crept in at night. My days were filled with work, my small but cozy home, and occasional coffee dates with my sister. No drama, no intrigue, and certainly no script. Admirercy set the note down, trying to think logically. There were only a handful of neighbors who might have left Merspatel, the elderly woman across the street who often left baked goods at my door. Unlikely. The Hendersons, a young couple in their 30s, who mostly kept to themselves. Even less likely than there was him, David. He had moved into the house next door about a year ago, early 50s, salt and pepper hair, always polite, but with a quietness about him that made him somewhat of a mystery. I'd only spoken to him a handful of times, small talk at the mailbox, polite nods when we passed each other on the sidewalk. Could it be him? The idea sent a strange flutter through my stomach. It had been years since anyone had shown interest in me, real interest. I picked up the note again. "I see you, I notice you." I thought about the way Davidson Adams looked at me, not in an intrusive way, but with a kind of awareness, as if he was observing something I wasn't even aware I was doing. But why now? That evening, as the sun cast a golden hue over the street, I found myself watching from my kitchen window. David was outside watering his plants. He moved with an ease that suggested he wasn't the type to leave anonymous notes on doors. Or was he? I considered just going over and asking him directly, "Hey, did you slip this under me door?" But the thought made my stomach twist with nerves. Instead, I decided to wait to see if another note appeared, and sure enough, next morning it did. This time, it was taped directly to me door. The same elegant handwriting. "If you're curious, meet me at park bench by the lake, 7 p. I swallowed. I'd heard this was a choice, a decision, and for the first time in a long time, I wanted to say yes. I spent the entire day debating with myself. Should I go? Should I ignore it? There was something undeniably thrilling about it. Mystery, the anticipation. It was a feeling I hadn't experienced in years, but at the same time, there was uncertainty. Who was behind these notes? Was I walking into something unexpected, something I wasn't prepared for? By late afternoon, I had made up my mind. I was going at exactly 6:55 p.m. I left my house, my heart pounding a little harder than usual. The park was only a short walk away, and as I strolled down the familiar path, the setting sun painted sky in soft hues of orange and pink. The air was warm, a gentle breeze rustling the trees. The lake sat at the heart of the park, its surface reflecting the last golden rays of sunlight. And there, just as the note had instructed, was the bench. It was empty. I glanced around, my fingers scrolling slightly with nerves. Maybe this was a joke after all. Maybe I had let my imagination get the best of me. But then footsteps. I turned, my breath catching just a little. It was David. He loved as calm and composed as ever, dressed casually in a dark blue button-up and jeans. But there was something else in His expression something softer, hesitant, as if he wasn't entirely sure how I would react. I wasn't sure if you'd come, hesitate, his voice warm yet uncertain. I forced a small smile, still trying to process the situation I was at. Serrate, he gestured to the bench. Mind if I sit? I nodded, and he took a seat beside him, keeping a respectful distance for a moment. We just sat there watching the water ripple gently in the fading light. Finally, I broke the silence. Was you? The notes? David exhaled, nodding. Yeah, it was me. I turned to look at him, fully searching his face for answers. Why? He hesitated before answering, running a hand through his salt and pepper hair. Because I've been noticing you for a while now, and I wasn't sure how to say it out loud. I swallowed, my fingers curling against my lap. You could have just said something. Loud a soft chuckle. I know, but I didn't want to make you uncomfortable. I wasn't even sure if he'd be interested in talking to me. So then they were my way of testing the waters. I shook my head, still processing it all. You're not some stranger. We've been neighbors for a year. Why now? David's gaze shifted toward the lake. Because I see you, and I think you see me too. But we've both been acting like when that hit somewhere deep. I had noticed him more than I cared to admit, but I had convinced myself that whatever slant glances passed between us were meaningless. That I was too old for this kind of uncertainty, too settled in my routine to entertain the idea of something new. But now, sitting beside him, I had told him there had always been something unspoken between us. I didn't know what to expect when I came here, I admitted, my voice softer now. David turned to me, then his expression more serious. And now that you're here, I held his gaze, the tension between us shifting. Not uncomfortably charged with something unspoken, something waiting to be explored. I don't know yet, I whispered. David nodded as if he understood. That's okay. We sat there in silence for a while longer, the evening settling in around us, and before I could second guess myself, he turned to him. Would you like to take a walk? His lips curled into a smile. Smileth kind? That made something in my chest tighten. I'd love to, David, and I walked along the path that circled the lake, the soft glow of street lamps casting long shadows around us. The air was cooler, no carrying the scent of damp earth and the distant sound of cricket chirping. For the first few minutes, we walked in comfortable silence. Neither of us seemed in a hurry to fill the space with words, and strangely, that felt right. It had been a long time since I had felt this at ease with someone. Finally, David spoke. I hope I didn't make you uncomfortable with the notes. I glanced at him, watching the way the gentle light reflected in his thoughtful eyes. No, I admitted, surprised. Yes, beaut and comfortable. No, he smiled slightly, a sea freely ved-cooled. We reached a small wooden bridge, it arched over the water, and I stopped, addressed, resting my hands on the railing. David joined me, and for a moment we just watched the lake, its surface rippling under the faint glow of the moon. Then, before I could stop myself, I said, I don't usually do things like this. David tilted his head slightly. Things like what? I exhaled. Meet mysterious no-triters at the park? He chuckled, shaking his head. Neither do if it made mesmal. I turned to look at him fully. Why did you wait so long? David considered the question for a moment before answering. Because I wasn't sure if ya were ready or if I was. He glanced at Methan, his expression softer. I know what it's like to get used to being alone, to convince yourself that you don't need anyone. His words hit deeper than I expected. Because he was right. After my divorce, I had told myself that I was better off alone, that I didn't need romance or deep connections anymore, that it was easier, safer to keep me heart locked away, and for the most part, I had believed it. But now, standing here with him, I wasn't so sure. I don't know if I remember how. Toto, this, I admitted, my voice barely above a whisper. David turned to face me completely. Then let's not think about doing this or what it means. Let's just take it one step at a time. There was something so reassuring about the way he hesitated. No pressure, no expectations, just an invitation to see where this could have led. I took a slow breath, feeling a strange, almost unfamiliar warmth bloom in my chest. Then, with a small, nervous smile, I said, okay. David smiled back, and with another word we started walking again. Whoa, people stepping cautiously but willingly into something new. And for the first time in years, I let myself feel it.